Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Dr. Z. I'm a clinical psychologist specializing in transgender care. Welcome on here. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. If you haven't heard that I'm giving out a PDF copy of my Amazon bestseller, check it out, grab your copy, link is below. If you have not yet followed me on Instagram, what are you waiting for? That's where I show up. That's where I answer all of your questions. This is where we do Q&As. This is where I do 60 seconds of short sound bites. So make sure to follow me on there. Today, I want to cover for all of you what happens when feminizing does opposite of passing. This video is going to be for those of you who care about passing. We long established ago that passing is not for everybody. If you're watching this, you don't care about passing, this content is not for you. We live and exist in a society that still sees the world as a binary view, and for a lot, pretty much majority of trans women that I know and work with, passing is paramount. Passing is important. Passing is for a lot of you is a personal goal. Passing is for a lot of you a safety necessity. So if you do care about passing, I will be sharing with you one of the major hiccups, I would say, that I see with my clients again and again and again, that instead of helping them pass, does the opposite. Now, what is the opposite of passing? That's when instead of passing, what happens is that you actually come across as more as a trans woman. Hey, nothing wrong with advocating and owning yourself and letting the world know you're a trans woman. The reality is, I know not everybody wants that. A lot of people want to be styles. A lot of people just want to, the words that they use is just blend in and live their life. And I gotta respect that. So if you fall into that category, this is for you. And I see this again and again and again. What happens is in the beginning of gender transition, people go on hormones, they start feeling amazing. Not surprising because you're finally getting the right hormone in your body, you're finally getting the right fuel in your body, and then slowly changes start to happen. For some trans women, not all, some tend to take things very slowly, which is great. Hey, you have to respect your pace. And then there's some individuals that I work with that suddenly it's almost like the door blasted and you have this insatiable need to fully express and present yourself and really turn up the dial from 0 all the way to 100. I'm going to repeat this again and again. Hey, if you don't care and you love being at 100 and you don't care that some people, instead of seeing you as a woman, they see you as a trans woman and you're fine with that, kudos to you. Again, this content is for somebody who cares about being only seen primarily as styles or primarily as a woman as you start your gender transition. So I see a lot of people crank it up to 100. Nothing wrong with cranking it to 100, except when it does the opposite of what your goal is. For a lot of my clients, the goal is blend in. The goal is to be acknowledged as a woman. The goal is to go there and get gendered as a woman. The goal is not to run into any stigma. The goal is not to run in any kind of hate or any kind of shit that is going on in the world today. So what I see a lot of people do is this tendency to super hyper feminize. What is super hyper feminization am I talking about? That's when people do heavier makeup than necessary, very hyper feminine clothing. For example, skirts, dresses, high heels, breast forms, corsets for the waist to tighten and make the waist look smaller. All of those things, nothing wrong with them. If your goal is to pass and you're utilizing all of them at once, which I often see, or combination of them at once, and you're so early in transition where a lot of other things have not really lined up yet, for example, voice, for example, facial hair removal, for example, hormones are softening your face, what's going to happen is you're going to get the opposite results. I say this because I've seen this gazillion times. I've seen it so many times when clients come to me and they say, I don't understand. I don't understand, Dr. Z. I'm wearing full-blown makeup. I'm wearing breast forms. My waist is pinched. I'm wearing high heels and a beautiful dress. Everything about me to the world screams I am a woman. Why are people misgendering me left and right? Why are they constantly stumbling over my pronouns? And sadly, the reason is yes, you're doing everything right. And yes, you're putting all of this, what we socially, culturally perceive as very feminine attributes, but it's so early on. A lot of people haven't even mastered perhaps how to do it together when it works the best for them. Remember, we all have different body types. So it's important to accentuate your assets and to find the way with style and clothing to de-accentuate, to cover things that are not working for you. I have a large chest. For that reason, I seldom, if ever, wear turtleneck. Why? It makes me boxy. It makes me very heavy. So I avoid turtlenecks. That's what I'm talking about here. So for a lot of people, it feels very devastating because they get the opposite effect. Another very devastating thing that happened is that people start being called cross-dressers. For a lot of you, it is deeply hurtful. It is deeply offensive because first of all, you're not a cross-dresser, a big different thing. And that's not your intent. So when you do go out there and people call you a cross-dresser, it hurts. It's deeply, deeply hurts. And one of the reasons why that happens is because for a lot of public, this is neither right nor wrong. This is just is. For a lot of public, all of this overly accentuation of hyper-femininity, it comes across as superimposed, as forced. Again, if you do it and you love it and you don't care how people react, amazing. If you do it and you love it and whatever your goals are, amazing too. If that's your goal, if you love hyper-feminizing and you don't care what stage you're in transition, also amazing. But I know that for a lot of you, it matters. And a lot of you have different goals. So what I usually recommend for people, and this is actually a recommendation for anybody who is going through transition, to try to not be so eager to jump into hyper-fem from beginning, from the get-go. To, first of all, you're going to need time to figure out what is your feminine, to figure out what your style is, what is your archetype. I have a fantastic masterclass on this that helps you figure out what is your inner feminine archetype and how to bring her into your life. Link is below if you want to check it out, up for you. It's very important. A lot of you start out with, I see this either very hyper-femme or like very, very timid, careful, and then you blast out and then you blossom. So it's important for you to figure out what is your style. How do you like to present? And a lot of you won't know this until you are a little bit further in transition, because it takes a while to figure out who we are. It takes a while for you to connect to that part of yourself. So what I recommend in the beginning is, instead of hyper-feminizing, is as you start transition, go ahead and first slowly move into androgyny zone. As you get comfortable going out there presenting androgynous, push envelope further. Now let's bring more femininity into your presentation. As you get more confident, affirmed, you're starting to find yourself. Then, if hyper-femme is your style, that's when it's a time to roll it out. And trust me, that's when it works the best for you. I also recommend for people to, as much as you can, I know that here's the thing about the things such as breast forms, for example. While they almost do like reverse dysphoria too, because on one surface, you're wearing the breast forms and they make you feel more aligned with yourselves. They make you feel more comfortable with yourselves. They make you feel feminine and beautiful. Same time, for a lot of you, this is what I hear from my clients at least, is that those breast forms also makes them feel deeply dysphoric because they realize I have to rely on this artificial item in order to feel aligned. So it's like euphoria, dysphoria meeting together. what I recommend for people is, if you can, if possible, avoid breast forms. Allow your natural breast tissue to develop, and it will develop on hormones. And especially if they're after 6 months on hormones, your medical provider is able and willing to add progesterone. It will develop even more. So I highly recommend, because there's nothing like feeling your own breast, feeling that sensation. I know for a lot of you, you get that your nipples are growing, you can feel the nipple spotting, you can feel the sensitivity. It feels amazing. Honor your natural unfoldment, honor your natural femininity, honor your natural body transforming itself. If you absolutely love and enjoy breast forms, again, go for it. None of these advices are either or. It's more take what works for you and leave what doesn't work for you. But I just see that things like breast forms and waist clinching devices and other things, while they help with euphoria, they also have an element of bringing in dysphoria. And then it's almost like we one step forward, two steps backwards, one step forward, two steps backwards. So I really encourage for you not to rely on them. Another thing about things such as breast form is that a lot of you, by wearing breast form, sometimes may start really longing and get attached to expectation of growing the same size breasts. And when you don't achieve the same amount of growth on hormones, and especially if you don't have resources for breast augmentation, that can be very, very devastating for you. So that's another main reason, important reason why I avoid things such as breast forms. But the primary one is that, again, euphoria and dysphoria, and that's the dance that feels very, very painful. So again, don't forget what I recommended. Try it out if it works for you. Step forward advantages. While you're in that advantages, get rid of all of your male clothes. Step forward, more feminine. Step forward, even more feminine. Step forward, full, beautiful you. And I promise you, it's going to work. And even if you get misgendered at a full-blown you, by that time, by taking those steps, you would have grown in confidence. You would have grown in assertiveness. And when if God forbid, if misgendering happens, you are better equipped to handle it than in the beginning of transition, when you're so excited and you go out there and you have your whole makeup done, and yet you get misgendered. It is very painful. Let's not forget, for a lot of you, makeup takes time to master. Anybody, I don't think there's a woman in the world, unless those people who and they're becoming natural makeup artists, who just know how to do it. This look that you're seeing, this kind of like signature looks that I developed, bold red lip, black eyeliner, took forever to master. The black eyeliner still takes forever to master. The amount of Q-tips I have to go to is numerous. The point I'm trying to make is makeup it's an art form. It's an artistic expression of accentuating your face. And in the beginning, a lot of people tend to lean into very heavy makeup, heavy foundation, contouring your face, highlighting your face. I understand. What you're aiming to do is you're aiming to hide any kind of masculine features. You're aiming to hide any kind of facial hair or any kind of just, few days after shaving subs, with all of that heavy foundation. But I'm telling you, it does the opposite. It accentuates those things. It's similar to anybody who ever got a pimple on their face, and it's healing. You popped it out, and then you apply foundation and concealer. It's just going to accentuate that there's something on your face. And that's what sometimes heavy makeup does for us. It works against us versus for us. So if passing matters to you, learn how to master those things so they can work for you versus against you, and go slow in the beginning. Comment below, let me know where you at if this happened to you. If feminizing did the opposite of your intent to pass, share with everybody. Share what has helped you, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.